One little tip for every Guardian in SMITE. But first, a disclaimer. This is not a full guide video for Guardians, and it does not include the most important tips or tricks for the characters mentioned. What this video provides are techniques or some helpful advice that maybe not every one of you knows about. Some are more suited for beginners, some for advanced players. Also, this video will be split into 2 parts, with the next 10 Guardians coming soon in a future video. Now that that's out of the way, we start with Ares. Ares' damage potential is absolutely huge in every stage of the game, but there are still some ways to push it even more. You really want to use a basic attack after shooting a shackle with your first ability, if your position allows it. This also ensures that the cripple and damage from your shackles are active as long as possible. Since you have a 2-second timer after every shackle to fire a new one, you have a lot of time to walk up to your enemy, attack, fire the second shackle and basic attack again, and so on. Weaving basic attacks into your combos is a pretty simple and well-known concept in SMITE, but a lot of Ares players still don't make use of this simple mechanic. Next up, Artio. This trick is maybe more for beginners since it is pretty well known, but it is very important to understand and use this, so I still wanted to include it. You actually don't need to dash through your enemies with your bare form 3 to do damage and apply the slow. Your hitbox just needs to collide with your enemy's hitbox, which happens at the very first touch, which means you can dash at them, touch them slightly, cancel your dash with right click and start using your other spells quicker. This technique also provides an unexpected amount of burst in melee combat. You can use this in a basic attack, 3 cancel, basic attack combo, which you can see in the video background right now. This is also a lifesaver if you want to kill or slow someone on the edge of a tower, Phoenix, or on the edge of a big scary AoE, like Sylla's ultimate, because you don't actually dash into dangerous territory, but still apply the damage and slow of the ability. Next one is Athena. So my tip for Athena is pretty fun in my opinion. Due to recent changes to items, it is possible to acquire 8 block stacks at once, as of the start of Season 8. If you use Hide of the Nemean Lion, upgraded Shell and the passive on her first ability, you can tank Mercuries, Kalis and ADCs for days during your taunt. It catches carries super off guard when they ram their head into you and they just hear that super frustrating block noise all the time. Also, this is an insane counter for some characters like Arachne, since she can't hit her 1 or 2 on you during your block stacks. Now upcoming, Bacchus. This tip is just a simple reminder that diminishing returns affects the duration of his ultimate. If you don't know what diminishing returns, or short DR, is, I recommend you go check out the SMITE wiki. I will leave a link in the description. So if you belly flop your enemies, then burp on them to stun them, your ultimate will only last for 33% of the normal duration after that. Bacchus' ultimate has an insanely long duration of 6 seconds, which gets reduced to only 2 seconds if you use your whole kit beforehand. Just keep in mind that often it is a good idea to use it as a finisher, but having every enemy in a teamfight run around like a headless chicken is game changing sometimes. Now about Cabrakan. While Cabrakan's passive is considered to be pretty weak, especially early game, it still has some really nice niche power when helping your ally survive finishing blows. You need to remember that it works in an aura around you, so when you encounter a Nova ultimate on an ally or a Neith ultimate that you cannot block, you can still move closer to your ally so they can profit from your 5% more protection bonus. While it is a super small bonus in the early game, every tiny bit helps to survive, especially when being hit by the already mentioned ultimates. Next up is Cerberus. My tip for him is kinda weird because it is just hit your stuff. But it is so important as a Cerberus player to know that you can fire your 1 and 2 while you hold your enemies in the air with your ultimate. While it is not the easiest thing to pull off, it is possible to ult bunch of people, turn them in any direction you want and then stun them before they reach the ground, which locks them in place even longer. Also, if timed correctly, they cannot use Aegis Pendant between your ultimate and your 1, which makes for absolutely great setup for your teammates. Even if your 3 heads are not active for the stun on your 1, this combo is possible. When you already used your ultimate onto enemies and they are hanging in the air, you can activate your 2, instantly cancel it via right click, and then fire the stun. As I already mentioned, this is not exactly the easiest combo in the game and may require a little bit of practice, but it is really worth mastering it. The next Guardian is Cthulhu. Cthulhu has a lot of little things in his kit to talk about, but since this video is called One Tip for Every Guardian, I chose the following. If you chase down enemies, which you will do as Cthulhu, you can cast your 2 under their feet even if you know they will escape it. You can cancel the ability early after the first hit is applied, so you are not stuck on the animation forever and can now use your dash or ultimate to catch up to the slowed enemy. Also, the yucky pool on the floor slows even before the first hit of the ability, so even if you can't hit any of the shots, it will still help something if you just throw it at their feet. Number 8 on this list is Fafnir. This is probably my favorite one. I think a lot of dedicated Fafnir players already know about this, but I hope some people learn something new here. Fafnir's second ability buffs an ally to gain more power and attack speed. This buff is one in a kind, since the buff damage is technically applied by Fafnir and not the team member carrying the buff. This leads to some very fun item interactions. For example, if you build Spear of the Magus or Soul Reaver on Fafnir and use your 2 on a teammate, your ally will now apply both items with their next basic attack or ability. So you didn't just buff him for an insane power and attack speed amount, you also gave him your item effects. Next up is Ganesh. Ganesh's ultimate is super diverse and versatile. Not only is it a good amount of burst damage and DPS, it also comes with 4 pillars on the corners. Use those pillars to your advantage. For example, if your enemy is hugging a wall, you can place 1 pillar behind them, run up to them and fully body block them into the wall. The stuff you can do with Ganesh's ultimate is simply amazing. Try thinking outside the box for this one and make use of every single element of the spell. Last Guardian, at least for this video, is Geb. Here is a little combo every Geb player should know about. Use your rollout in the general direction of your enemies, while still out of range for anything else. Quickly cancel the rollout and instantly blink into the middle of the enemy team and use your ultimate +2 combo. This will surprise a lot of enemies, because they are expecting you to use the CC immunity and movement speed of your rollout to engage. But you need to be cautious to not get hit by anything while rolling, otherwise you will be victim of a really embarrassing ult into nothing situation because your blink got cancelled. Also, as a bonus tip, Geb's rollout works exactly like Artio dash, at least on minions. You don't need to roll through minions to damage them, you can just touch them slightly and cancel the dash to use your 2 or basic attacks quicker. This helps Geb a bit with his jungle clear speed. Okay, that wraps it up for this time. The other 10 Guardians are coming soon in their own video. Let me know if you liked this video and tell me about your tips and tricks for these 10 Guardians. Also, I'm planning to do this format on all classes and conquest roles in SMITE, so if you don't want to miss anything in the future, subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, see you soon.